And you can tell that I thought about making this video quite quickly. I haven't even ironed my shirt yet. How's it going, YouTube? My name's Ryan and welcome to my new channel. And today I'm getting a new telescope, or I should say I'm picking up a new telescope, so I just got an email to say it's arrived. And the telescope I've got is a Celestron 76 EQ, and this is a reflector type telescope. Now the reason I got this is for a few reasons. One, it has a very special mount, the equatorial mount, which is supposedly really good for following the movement of the Earth while you're trying to take a picture of a star or a planet or even the moon, because, you know, of course the world moves, and it allows you to move in this very smooth arc motion, whereas a normal tripod, a bit like this one, it moves in its kind of up, down, left and right. And once you kind of found something, you might want to kind of tighten it up and have a look, maybe get your camera and take a picture behind the eyepiece, or that's kind of what I'm doing at the moment. But the problem is that a planet doesn't move like, you know, like a square wave. And it's quite hard to line it all up, tighten it and make sure it's all in the right place. Whereas with this, you kind of, I think they call it polar aligning, and it has this nice smooth arc motion that you can kind of hold and tighten up, and it makes it much easier. And these kind of stands, they are not cheap. In fact, that's one of the reasons why I got this telescope. Someone had it on eBay, it was going best offer, and it was less than £100. Now, I didn't want to spend anywhere near £100. I managed to get a good deal on it, but just a second-hand equatorial mount I've seen on eBay for far more. And even though this is not the exact Celestron telescope I've been looking at for a while, it's very similar, and in general it is a very good bargain. I couldn't see anything like that going second-hand cheap, or if it was always like collection only. The other reason is I'm trying to kind of kill two birds with one stone. I've got these two telescopes, this nice little refractor type telescope and this longer reflector type telescope. This is my little refractor type telescope, and it's pretty good. And you can tell that I thought about making this video quite quickly because I haven't got long to pick up the parcel before my next lecture, and I haven't even ironed my shirt yet. But yeah, this is my nice little refractor type telescope, and I will warn you, it didn't come with this mount. It actually came with this mount, very similar to the one I've just shown, that I've been using in my electronics project. An assignment for university, not my final year project, it's a part of my Internet of Things assignment. So we have to control something through, you know, I don't know, Wi-Fi or through Bluetooth. Now what's quite good about this telescope is this: it uses a sequence of lenses where the light will propagate through to an eyepiece that attaches up here, or you can take this diagonal bit out and you can put it there. And the way you can kind of think of these lenses is a little similar to the likes of a magnifying glass. So when you look through a magnifying glass, of course it magnifies things, and this kind of does a similar sort of thing. And you can even get these, which are called Barlow lenses, where, for example, for a shorter telescope like this, I don't get quite enough magnification as I would like. So I can get this Barlow lens, which I wonder if this would work. If you can see my head. Oh, it's messed up my focus. When it comes to Barlow lenses, they can get quite complicated, and there's a lot of jargon that sometimes seems quite like they're supposed to be quite similar, but they're not. But in a way, it can help increase the magnification of my telescope through external attachments, and in a way it makes my telescope almost twice as long. You also get stuff like 3 times Barlow's, even 5 times Barlow's. I don't see many people go above that. I think one of the reasons is because there's like a maximum magnification that you can calculate for your telescope, and when you go above that, everything kind of just goes a bit kind of bad. So most people don't really go above a 5 times Barlow lens, but for a small telescope it's quite good. But they have a disadvantage. Now, a refractor type telescope does what it says, it refracts the light, a bit like, you know, a magnifying glass, or I don't know, if you look at a swimming pool and you see someone standing in the swimming pool, sometimes their legs or something might look like they're at a bit of a weird angle or something. That's because of how the light refracts. And kind of like, I don't know, in high school science, or even just looking at like the Pink Floyd logo, you'd have like the light come into the prism and the light would refract in terms of different colours, because each colour has a different wavelength. You kind of get a similar issue with these type of telescopes, and it's called chromatic aberration, unless I've remembered the wrong word. And in a sense, what you get is a bit like this picture of Jupiter that I got. It's that all the kind of colours are a little bit offset, and it's not as pretty as I would like. And I was kind of, even though I have got much better pictures of Jupiter through this telescope, forms like this don't help. And looking online, some people suggest these and these attachments and these sort of things. It looks like at the end of the day, one of the ways to either counteract this is either using a reflector type telescope or a longer telescope. Now, if we take a look at this telescope, excuse my fan, it's not actually touching, it just looks like it is. One of the things that's quite cool about this is that this is a nice big reflector type telescope, and you know, I got it second hand, quite cheap. A couple bits had to be super glued because they were like kind of broken, but I got it working in the end, and I haven't actually used this as much, so you would definitely be seeing some videos on this. This is like a little National Geographic telescope, and the way this works is through reflection, so it uses mirrors instead of lenses. This is the opening. The eyepiece is here, not from front to back like the last one. And the reason for this is that the light comes through here for this opening, down the tube to a really big nice mirror at the back, and we want a nice big mirror to collect as many light, as many protons as we can, to collect them, focus them, and then project them towards another little mirror in here, the secondary mirror, which goes to our eyepiece here. And by kind of moving in and out the eyepiece, we can kind of focus in on the image. And because of this, we don't get that whole chromatic aberration type issue. Though I guess we start adding Barlow's, maybe you might, but they get another issue in of themselves. And that, well, apart from being open and not sealed, you have to be very careful cleaning the mirrors, not getting any scratches or anything. It's like a process you have to do. One of the kind of issues with these is something called collimation. Now, every time you pick up and move the telescope, those mirrors might slightly come out of alignment. And it's a special tool that goes in where it points a laser and it projects at a target, and you have to try and get the dot into the centre of the target. If it gets into the centre, we know it's all lined up, and you have to kind of fiddle with these screws at the back. Now, with this telescope, it is longer than that one, which I found with this one is already far better. I mean, I was able to see Jupiter and its moons reasonably clearly without a perfect collimation, because I need a bit of practice. Without need of any Barlow, it was very effortlessly. I kind of just pointed to it, I managed to kind of focus in. I didn't have to do half the amount of messing around I had to do with the other telescope. But the mount is terrible. I don't like this mount. One thing that is good about it is that if I want to look at something very high up, I can just point up almost directly, tighten it up near my chair. I can sit outside and have a look. With the other one, I'll be almost laying on the floor because the eyepiece will be all the way down here. So this telescope, not just is it a better type of telescope than this, because of the difference in the lens, it's far more stable, it's also wider, meaning that we'll get more light coming in. I think it's also longer, a far better mount, and also in terms of eyepieces, this uses a different size than my other telescope, with all my other filters, the cameras I've got to try and experiment with for my assignment, because I want it not just to be automated angling, I want it so we can actually take pictures and video. I can stream it. I didn't notice, but this for some reason has a different size eyepiece. You can get them, but when I was looking up on Google on this telescope, it said it uses the same sort of universal 1¼ inch eyepiece. So I keep looking at the screen of the camera. And yeah, that caused a bit of an issue because my fancy eyepiece, which is far better than this, doesn't work. I don't know why this has a different size than the exact same model number on other sites. I can only presume, I don't know, this is from a different year or something. But one of the issues I have had is that I do have an adapter that can kind of go into it to try and have my other eyepiece. The issue is I have to zoom in quite in, and I'll do another video about this, but because I have a bigger eyepiece, it's a bigger thing trying to go into a smaller hole. Now if it was the other way around, you could easily just slip in, I can have something that can fill the gap, I can even 3D print something, but because it is a bigger size and you have an adapter that goes in, it sits outside, and you can see it sits far backwards. Now if it all the way in, that distance is about perfect for Jupiter. This is terrible, and it means with my good adapters I see basically nothing. I have to use this kind of poor one it kind of came with, to kind of start you off with it. I do have a lens that might be coming to try and fix that, and my focal reducer. I haven't done too much research on it, but in general this telescope should be a lot better. This video's got on quite long, I didn't think it would be this long, so I'll do the review in another video. I better go and pick it up.